The first signs came from the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Antarctica. It was a quiet Tuesday morning when the sensors picked up unusual energy patterns near Pluto's orbit. Dr. Robert Miller stared at his computer screen, his coffee growing cold beside him as he analyzed the readings. They were unlike anything he had seen in his 20 years of watching the stars. "You need to see this," he called out to his colleague, Dr. Anna West, who rushed over from her workstation. Her eyes widened as she watched the energy signatures grow stronger. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth had confirmed the readings. Something massive was approaching our solar system, and it wasn't following any natural pattern of movement. The objects, whatever they were slowing down in a controlled manner. Military satellites were the next to catch the anomaly. General Thomas Parker stood in the Pentagon's command center, surrounded by screens showing different views of the approaching objects. As they crossed Neptune's orbit, the first visual confirmations came in. The sight made everyone in the room fall silent. Ships, hundreds of them, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. They moved with precise formation, their metallic hulls reflecting the distant sunlight. The largest vessel, positioned at the center of the fleet, was roughly the size of Manhattan. "Get the president on the line," General Parker ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation, "and contact every major military command worldwide. We need everyone on the same page." The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. Worldwide, military forces went on high alert. Fighter jets took to the skies, submarines slipped beneath the waves, and missile defense systems were activated. But everyone knew that if these visitors were hostile, Earth's current defenses would be like throwing pebbles at a tank. The alien fleet spread out as it entered the solar system, positioning ships near every major planetary body. 3 massive vessels took up positions around Earth, one over the North Pole, one over the South, and one above the equator. Their presence cast literal shadows over major cities as they passed overhead. In New York, London, Tokyo, and countless other cities, people poured into the streets, their faces turned skyward. Some prayed, some cried, but most simply stared in silent awe. Humanity's first contact with alien life wasn't coming with a subtle signal from space or a small probe. It was a display of overwhelming power. Inside the United Nations building in New York, the Security Council gathered for an emergency session. Representatives from every nation sat together, their usual political differences forgotten in the face of what could be humanity's greatest crisis. "The Chinese government has missiles locked on the vessel above Beijing," the Chinese representative announced, his voice tense. "As do we," added the American ambassador, "along with every other nation with such capabilities. But we all know that's likely pointless." The room fell silent as a new message appeared on their screens. The aliens were broadcasting on all frequencies, using perfectly clear English and every other major Earth language simultaneously. "People of Earth," the message began, "the Galactic Empire acknowledges your world. Prepare to receive our envoy. Any hostile action will be met with immediate response. We come with purpose. You will listen." In the Antarctic monitoring station, Dr. Miller watched as smaller ships began descending through Earth's atmosphere. They moved with impossible grace, ignoring the physics of atmospheric entry, as if the laws of nature were mere suggestions. "What do you think they want?" Dr. West whispered, standing beside him at the window as they watched one of the ships land on the ice field near their station. "I don't know," Miller replied, his breath fogging the glass. "But I have a feeling we're about to find out, and I'm not sure we're going to like it." As the first day of humanity's new era drew to a close, few people on Earth slept. They stayed awake, watching the stars that now held more than just natural light. The Galactic Empire had arrived, and Earth would never be the same. Little did the Empire know, they weren't the first aliens to visit Earth. and humanity's response to their arrival would soon shake the foundations of galactic civilization. The Imperial envoy arrived at the United Nations headquarters exactly 24 hours after the fleet's appearance. The chosen representative was a surprise that sent shockwaves through the assembled world leaders. He was human. Commander James Gray stood over 6 feet tall, his imperial uniform gleaming with medals and strange symbols. Despite his apparently human appearance, something about his movements felt wrong, too precise and calculated. His age was impossible to guess. He could have been 40 or 400. "I was born on Earth," Gray announced to the stunned UN Assembly, his voice carrying an accent that didn't quite match any known region. 300 years ago, the Empire found me aboard a damaged spacecraft. They saw potential in humans, but considered us unfinished. The room remained silent as Gray activated a holographic display, showing the vast expanse of the Galactic Empire. Earth appeared as a tiny dot at the edge of a massive network of controlled systems. "Your world sits on valuable resources," Gray continued. "Minerals your primitive technology hasn't even discovered yet. The Empire requires these resources. You will be integrated into our civilization as a servant species. This is not a negotiation." The American representative stood up, her voice steady despite the situation. "And if we refuse?" Gray's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Look outside your windows. Those ships carry enough firepower to turn Earth's surface to glass. The Empire does not ask twice." Above major cities worldwide, the Imperial ships began projecting massive screens, broadcasting Gray's message to all of humanity. People watched from streets, homes, and shelters as their fate was being decided. "You have 48 hours to surrender control to Imperial authorities," Gray announced. "Your governments will be dissolved. Your military forces will be disbanded. Your resources will serve the Empire. In return, you will receive Imperial protection and technology. Your lives will improve, under proper guidance." In the Pentagon's underground command center, General Parker watched the broadcast with growing anger. He pressed a button on his secure phone, connecting to a hidden facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. "Status of Project Guardian," he whispered. "Ready," came the response. "All systems are operational, awaiting final authorization." The general nodded, though no one could see him. "Hold position. Wait for the signal." Back at the UN, Gray was displaying images of other worlds that had joined the Empire. Some appeared prosperous, with towering cities and advanced technology. Others were barren wastelands. "These," he said, pointing to the devastated planets, "chose resistance. The Empire is patient, but not forgiving. Choose wisely." An elderly Japanese diplomat raised his hand. "Commander Gray, you say you were born on Earth. How can you participate in the subjugation of your own people?" For a moment, something flickered across Gray's face, an emotion quickly suppressed. "I serve a greater purpose now. Earth is primitive, emotional. The Empire brings order, structure, progress." In orbit, the Imperial ships shifted position, forming a perfect triangle around Earth. Their weapons remained powered down, a show of confidence rather than peace. As the world leaders debated their response, hidden facilities around the globe hummed with activity. Deep underground, in secret bunkers and mountain bases, people who officially didn't exist studied readings from equipment that officially didn't exist. The Imperial ship's energy signatures matched the artifacts, one scientist reported to a secure conference call. "They haven't changed their basic technology in 10,000 years. Arrogant bastards." Gray concluded his presentation with a final warning. 2 days. No more, no less. When I return, I expect your surrender. The Empire's generosity has limits." As he turned to leave, the Russian representative called out, "And what if we have something that could surprise even your mighty empire?" Gray paused at the door, turning back with an almost pitying smile. "You don't." After he left, the world leaders looked at each other in silence. On the surface, their situation seemed hopeless, But deep underground, hidden from Imperial sensors, humanity's real response was taking shape. The Empire thought they were dealing with a primitive species. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. While the world watched Imperial ships hover in the sky, real power lay hidden beneath the Earth's surface. In a facility 5 miles under the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Linda Peters walked through a vault door that didn't officially exist. The chamber beyond was massive, carved from solid rock decades ago. At its center stood what looked like a simple metal sphere, about 3 meters in diameter. Its surface was perfectly smooth, reflecting the bright laboratory lights. This was the heart of Project Guardian, humanity's greatest secret. Status report. Dr. Peters called out to her team of scientists and engineers, each chosen for their ability to keep secrets as much as their brilliant minds. The alien crash site in Brazil from '62 finally makes sense, said Mike Thompson, her chief engineer. He pointed to data flowing across his screens. Their ship wasn't shot down. It was running from something. The same thing that left those ruins on Mars that we've been pretending don't exist. In orbit, Imperial sensors swept Earth repeatedly, searching for any sign of advanced technology. They found nothing. The Empire's arrogance had never led them to look for facilities hidden under mountains of lead and engineered crystal, using technology they thought had been lost millennia ago. Deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, another team worked in a vast chamber. Here, rows of ancient artifacts lined the walls, pieces of technology recovered from crash sites around the world over the past century. Each one had been carefully studied, reverse-engineered, and improved upon. The Empire hasn't changed their shield frequency in 10,000 years, Dr. Robert Miller reported over a secure channel. They still think they're the only ones who know how to build these weapons. They never found our little corner of space. General Parker stood in a command center hidden beneath the Pentagon, watching real-time feeds from facilities around the world. How many sites are ready? All of them, sir, his aide responded. 37 facilities, all synchronized. The old defense grid is fully operational. The truth about Earth's preparation went beyond secret bases and hidden technology. It lay in human DNA itself. 50 years ago, scientists studying ancient genetic samples had made an incredible discovery. Humanity wasn't native to Earth. We were descendants of warriors who had hidden here, erasing their own technology and memories to avoid detection. In a secure facility under the Himalayas, Dr. West examined genetic sequences displayed on her screen. The markers are activating, she reported, just like the ancient records said they would. The presence of Imperial technology is triggering dormant genes. Around the world, subtle changes were beginning. People reported increased clarity of thought, better reflexes, enhanced perception. The warrior genes were waking up, responding to the threat just as they had been programmed to do millennia ago. Sir, a young technician called out in the Rocky Mountain facility, we're detecting power signatures from the moon. Dr. Peters rushed to his station. On the screen, ancient defense systems were coming online in deep lunar caverns, systems that had waited patiently for thousands of years, maintaining their vigil even as humanity forgot they existed. In the Mariana Trench, a facility built into the ocean floor hummed with power. Here, the largest pieces of recovered technology had been assembled and improved upon over decades. Engineers monitored systems that could change the course of planets, if necessary. All facilities report ready, General Parker announced to a secure conference of world leaders. The defense grid is operational. Project Guardian is armed. The President of the United States looked at the faces on her screen. Leaders who had been rivals days ago, now united in Earth's defense. The Empire gave us 48 hours, she said. Let's use them wisely. Above, the Imperial fleet maintained its position, weapons powered down, confident in their absolute superiority. They never noticed the faint energy signatures dancing between hidden facilities, or the ancient defense satellites disguised as space debris, or the power building in chambers deep beneath the Earth's surface. Commander Gray had been wrong. Earth had something that would not just surprise the Empire. It would terrify them. As the hours ticked down toward the deadline, humanity prepared to reveal just how much they had been hiding. The Empire thought they were dealing with primitives. They were about to meet the descendants of the galaxy's greatest warriors instead. With 6 hours remaining until the Empire's deadline, Earth made its move. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Peters stood before the assembled world leaders on multiple screens, her hand hovering over a crystal control panel. "The transmission is ready," she announced. "Once sent, there's no going back." The president nodded. "Proceed, Doctor. Let's show them our warning." Dr. Peters pressed her palm against the crystal. The metal sphere in the center of the chamber began to hum, its surface rippling like liquid mercury. Deep beneath every ocean, hidden in mountain ranges, and buried under polar ice, identical spheres activated in perfect synchronization. In orbit, Imperial sensors detected an energy surge unlike anything they had recorded before. The energy pattern wasn't hostile. It was a communications signal, but one using quantum channels that only the most advanced civilizations could access. Commander Gray burst onto the bridge of his ship, his usual composure shattered. "What are they doing? This is impossible." The transmission contained no threats, no pleading, no attempts at negotiation. Instead, Earth broadcast a single set of coordinates, followed by a simple message: "Look and understand." In the Pentagon's hidden command center, General Parker watched as the Imperial fleet reacted. Some ships adjusted their positions, weapons powering up automatically in response to the unexpected show of advanced technology. "They're scanning us with everything they have," reported a technician monitoring the Imperial ships. "They're trying to find our transmission source." But Earth's hidden facilities remained undetectable, shielded by technology the Empire thought had been lost to time. The ancient warriors who had hidden on Earth had planned this moment for thousands of years. On the Imperial command ship, Gray interrogated his science officers. "How can they have quantum communications? Their most advanced satellites use primitive radio waves." "Sir," one officer reported, "the coordinates they transmitted. They point to the Centauri sector." Gray's face paled. The Centauri sector was home to one of the Empire's greatest mysteries, a dead solar system that had once housed their strongest military outpost. 10,000 years ago, it had been destroyed by an unknown force. The Empire had classified all information about the incident. In the Himalayan facility, Dr. West monitored genetic changes in the global population. The dormant warrior genes were now fully active in over 60% of humans. People worldwide reported enhanced strength, sharper senses, and most importantly, access to genetic memories that had laid dormant for millennia. "We remember now," she whispered, her own enhanced mind processing information at incredible speeds. "We remember everything." The Imperial fleet remained in position, but their confidence was shaken. Their sensors continued to sweep Earth, finding nothing but radio waves and primitive satellites. Yet the quantum transmission had definitely originated from the planet. In Antarctica, Dr. Miller watched energy readings from the ancient defense grid. "The lunar installations are fully online," he reported. "The Empire's sensors just haven't evolved enough to detect them." The Empire's response came 3 hours later. A small scout ship departed from the main fleet, heading toward the transmitted coordinates. Earth's hidden sensors tracked its quantum wake signature. "They took the bait," General Parker announced to the world leaders. "Now they'll learn who they're really dealing with." In orbit, Commander Gray paced his bridge, his enhanced mind racing through possibilities. How could Earth, a primitive world with barely functional spaceflight, possess quantum communication technology? How did they know about the Centauri sector? What else were they hiding? The answer would come soon enough. The scout ship would reach its destination in 12 hours, and the truth would change the Empire forever. Dr. Peters stood in her facility, watching the Imperial ships through advanced sensors. "Our ancestors chose Earth for a reason," she said to her team. "Its magnetic field, its deep oceans, its mountain ranges, perfect for hiding the most advanced technology in the galaxy. And now it's time to remind the Empire why they feared us. As the deadline approached, humanity waited patiently. They had hidden for thousands of years. They could wait a few more hours. The Empire thought Earth's warning was a bluff. They were about to learn it was a reminder. The Imperial scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the coordinates Earth had provided. Captain Mark Reed, another human serving the Empire, expected to find nothing of importance. Instead, what he saw made his enhanced heart skip a beat. A graveyard of planets greeted him. Where once stood a thriving solar system with 9 worlds, now only shattered fragments remained. The system's sun burned dim red, permanently scared by whatever force had destroyed its planets. "Full scan," Reed ordered, his voice barely steady. "Show me everything." The scout ship's sensors revealed a horror that the Empire had tried to forget. The remains of thousands of Imperial warships drifted in eternal orbit around the dead sun. These weren't just any ships. Historical records identified them as part of the Empire's first fleet, their most powerful armada from 10,000 years ago. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting energy signatures in the debris field. They match the transmission from Earth." Back on Earth, every hidden facility hummed with power. In the Rocky Mountain complex, Dr. Peters and her team watched the scout ship's reaction through quantum-linked sensors their ancestors had hidden throughout the galaxy. "They're scanning the wreckage," she reported to General Parker. "They'll find it any moment now." In orbit around Earth, Commander Gray received the first transmissions from the scout ship. His face grew paler with each new piece of data. The destruction they were witnessing wasn't random. It was precise, calculated, and executed with technology that exactly matched the quantum signature Earth had just demonstrated. "Impossible," Gray whispered, staring at the readings. "The warriors of Dawn were wiped out. The Empire hunted down every last one of them." But the evidence was undeniable. The weapon signatures in the debris field matched energy patterns now emanating from Earth's core. The mysterious warriors of Dawn, the only force that had ever truly threatened the Empire, hadn't been destroyed. They had hidden themselves on a primitive-looking world, erasing their own technology and memories until they were needed again. In the Antarctic facility, Dr. Miller watched as more genetic memories unlocked across the global population. "We didn't just hide," he said to his team. "We evolved. We spent 10,000 years becoming something new, something better." The scout ship's most shocking discovery came from the system's largest debris field. Captain Reed ordered his ship closer to investigate a massive structure floating among the fragments of what was once the Empire's greatest military base. "It's some kind of recording device," his science officer reported. "Sir, it's activating." A holographic message burst to life in the void of space, showing a warrior in ancient armor. The message was simple, recorded 10,000 years ago, but meant for this very moment. "To the Empire that would not listen, from the warriors you could not defeat, we did not die. We did not surrender. We merely waited. If you are seeing this message, you have threatened our descendants. This dead system stands as testament to our power. Remember it well." Commander Gray received the full report in his command ship above Earth. His enhanced mind finally understood the truth. Earth's warning wasn't a bluff. It was a reminder of what humanity's ancestors had done to the last Imperial fleet that tried to conquer them. In the Himalayan facility, Dr. West monitored the final stages of humanity's genetic awakening. "Our ancestors didn't just leave us their weapons," she explained to the world leaders. "They left us their knowledge, their power, and their resolve. All we needed was the Empire's return to trigger our awakening." The scout ship made one final scan before preparing to return. Captain Reed looked at the devastation around him, then at the bright blue planet his sensors showed in real time through quantum entanglement. "Sir," he transmitted to Commander Gray, "the energy readings are identical. Earth has the same weapon system that did this, and based on these readings, their version is more advanced. The Empire had come to Earth expecting to find primitives. Instead, they had found the descendants of the only warriors they had ever feared, and those descendants had spent 10,000 years preparing for their return. The true question now was, what would the Empire do with this revelation? Commander Gray stood alone in his quarters aboard the Imperial flagship, staring at Earth through his viewport. The scout ship's findings had been transmitted throughout the Imperial fleet, causing chaos in the command structure. For the first time in his 300-year service to the Empire, he saw fear in his superior officer's eyes. The Emperor demands answers, his communication officer had told him moments ago. How did we miss this? How did the warriors of Dawn hide on Earth for 10,000 years? In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Peters watched Imperial ships changing positions. Their confident attack formation had shifted to a defensive stance. The mighty Empire was preparing for a possible retreat. They're accessing their historical archives, reported a technician monitoring Imperial communications. They're finally remembering why they feared our ancestors. The Imperial War Council convened an emergency session via quantum link. Gray watched as ancient records were brought forth, documents that had been sealed for millennia. They told of a war that nearly destroyed the Empire, fought against warriors who wielded power that seemed like magic even to their advanced civilization. These humans, an Imperial Council member spoke, his hologram flickering. They're not just descendants of the warriors. There's something new. Their DNA shows 10,000 years of calculated evolution. They've been preparing for this moment since they went into hiding. In orbit, Imperial sensors detected new energy signatures rising from Earth. Hidden installations on the Moon's dark side shed their camouflage. Defensive platforms disguised as asteroids revealed their true nature. A network of quantum-linked weapons platforms emerged from hiding, all bearing the same energy signatures as the weapons that had destroyed the Empire's greatest fleet. Commander Gray received a priority message from Captain Reed, still at the coordinates of the destroyed system. Sir, we found more records in the debris field. The warriors didn't just defeat the First Fleet. They gave them a warning first, exactly like Earth just warned us. In the Himalayas, Dr. West monitored the final phase of humanity's awakening. Genetic memories had fully activated in most of the population. Humans worldwide now remembered their heritage, understood their technology, and knew their true power. Our ancestors were clever, she told her team. They didn't just hide their weapons in bunkers. They hid their knowledge in our very cells, waiting for the moment we would need it most. The Imperial War Council's debate grew heated. Some demanded immediate attack, believing they could overwhelm Earth's defenses with sheer numbers. Others urged retreat, remembering the fate of the First Fleet. Commander Gray listened silently until the Emperor himself spoke. "Show me this Commander Gray," the Emperor demanded. "This human who serves us." Gray stood before the Council's quantum projection, feeling their scrutiny. The genetic modifications the Empire had given him seemed primitive now, compared to the awakened power flowing through Earth's population. "Tell us, Commander," the Emperor spoke. "You were born on Earth. Now that their true nature is revealed, where does your loyalty lie?" Gray looked at the Emperor, then at Earth spinning below. The genetic memories awakening in his own DNA provided the answer. "My loyalty lies with the truth, Emperor. And the truth is, we cannot defeat them. The warriors of Dawn nearly destroyed the Empire at the height of their power. Their descendants are stronger, more evolved, and they've had 10,000 years to prepare." Deep under the Antarctic ice, Dr. Miller watched Imperial communications through quantum interceptors. "They're beginning to understand," he reported to world leaders. "The Empire hasn't evolved in 10,000 years. They've stagnated, relying on their size and reputation. But humanity, we've been evolving all along." The Emperor was silent for a long moment, considering Gray's words. Finally, he spoke. "The Empire has not survived for millions of years by repeating its mistakes. Commander Gray, you will deliver our response to Earth." In hidden facilities around the world, humans watched and waited. Their ancestors had given the Empire one warning before defending themselves. Now humanity stood ready to do the same. The Empire faced a choice: acknowledge humanity's power and seek peace, or risk everything in a war they knew they couldn't win. Commander Gray prepared to deliver the Empire's decision. The next few moments would determine the future of two civilizations. The United Nations Assembly Hall fell silent as Commander Gray walked in for the second time. This time, there was no arrogance in his stride, no condescension in his expression. He moved like a man who had glimpsed the power of gods and lived to tell about it. On behalf of the Galactic Empire, Gray began, his voice carrying to every corner of Earth through quantum broadcasts. I am authorized to extend formal recognition of Earth's sovereign status. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Peters allowed herself a small smile. The spherical device at the center of the chamber powered down for the first time since the crisis began, its surface returning to solid metal. Furthermore, Gray continued, the Empire acknowledges humanity's heritage as the descendants of the Warriors of Dawn. We propose the immediate establishment of diplomatic relations on equal terms. Around the world, people watched the broadcast with newly awakened memories providing context. They understood now why their ancestors had hidden, why they had waited, and why a simple warning had been enough to make the mighty Empire reconsider. The Empire offers Earth a permanent seat on the Galactic Council, Gray announced. Your voice will carry the same weight as any other ancient civilization. In orbit, Imperial ships began moving away from their attack positions. The massive fleet that had arrived to conquer now prepared to depart in peace. But humanity's revealed defenses remained active, a quiet reminder of why the Empire had chosen diplomacy. Dr. West stood in her Himalayan facility, monitoring the final integration of humanity's awakened genetic memories. Our ancestors would be proud, she said to her team. We achieved victory without firing a shot. The president rose to address Commander Gray. Earth accepts the Empire's recognition, she declared. We look forward to peaceful cooperation. But understand this, humanity will never again hide its true nature. We stand ready to defend our independence. Gray nodded, understanding the weight of the moment. The Empire has one request, he said. Knowledge of your weapons systems will remain classified. General Parker interrupted from his position near the wall, just as they were 10,000 years ago. Consider it a guarantee of continued peace. In Antarctica, Dr. Miller watched the proceedings through quantum feeds. Clever, he remarked to his colleagues. We show them enough power to prove we can defend ourselves, but keep them guessing about our full capabilities. The Emperor's hologram appeared in the chamber, causing a stir among the assembled leaders. It was unprecedented for the Empire's ruler to address a primitive world directly. Earth has taught the Empire a valuable lesson, the Emperor's image declared. We had grown complacent in our power, forgetting that appearances can deceive. You have reminded us why the Warriors of Dawn were both respected and feared. Commander Gray stepped forward again. With your permission, I would like to remain on Earth as the Empire's first ambassador. I find I have much to relearn about my own heritage. In hidden facilities around the world, ancient defense systems shifted to standby mode but remained ready. The Empire would be watched, just as humanity's ancestors had watched them for millennia. Dr. Peters addressed the final meeting of world leaders from her facility. We've achieved what our ancestors planned. Recognition without destruction, power without war, respect without conquest. As Imperial ships departed Earth's orbit, humanity began its emergence onto the galactic stage. But they did so on their own terms, carrying forward both their ancestors' power and their wisdom. The Empire had arrived expecting to find primitives to conquer. Instead, they found the descendants of legends, evolved into something even stronger. They came seeking to give Earth a warning, but received one instead. In the end, it wasn't the weapons that won the day. It was the wisdom of ancient warriors who knew that true power lies not in conquest, but in the ability to maintain peace through strength. Earth had taken its place among the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same.